analytics glasses for all those nerds out there.
But Thomas Bryant's jockstrap, get him out of here!
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back! They snatched that chain, boy. Get back! What y'all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back! We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back!
Hey, everybody. Welcome into The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan, Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pinot, and Rob Watson. Today is a gorgeous Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. How we doing today, guys? Hump Day. Happy Hump Day, everybody.
It is Hump Day indeed. Happy Wednesday to everybody on the Factor. I feel like, now that we're like in football season, Wednesday is really nice because we could officially turn the page to the next week. Obviously, the guards being as hot as they are helps some things. So I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Jack?
Yeah, I need some Tylenol. Guardian fever. It's just taking over the town, guys. I mean, how can we not talk about it? It's so incurable. That is the thing, Nick. It is incurable unless that offense lays a goose egg tonight. Then it's curable. But for now, incurable.
What if we just drop a game short? How are you gonna recover from that, man?
Never.
Okay.
It's like people ask me if I ever got over the Notre Dame Ohio State game, I'll let you know when I do.
Well, an extra inning special, Jack. The Cleveland Guardians beat the Detroit Tigers 79-71 as of this recording, 2.5 games back for that final wild card spot. Boston and Houston still hold those. New York kind of running away with the number 1 wild card spot in the American League. But Jack, even the division still technically in reach for our Cleveland Guardians, not to get too crazy. But again, as of recording, the Guardians right now just 5.5 games back from that AL Central crown. We still got a lot of games left against Detroit, Jack. I guess it's possible, and we've seen crazier things happen in the realm of baseball.
Yeah, there's such thing as trauma and repeating previous experiences that kind of make you tense up in certain situations or freak out a little bit. And after the playoffs last year and after the fact that Lane Thomas loves swinging at the first pitch and at bats, like the Detroit Tigers are still scared of the boogeyman. And they were talking about it when they started to slide a little bit in August, even before the Guardians truly picked it back up all the way. They've been kind of waiting with bated breath despite their lead in the division this whole entire time. Maybe not even that we would catch them in the regular season, but if we somehow snuck in or found a way that, hey, the boogeyman's going to be under your bed once again. And just again, they get to that point last night where Kerry Bonds goes deep. They're going nuts outside the dugout. Like they think, oh, we just buried Cleveland again. Like we finally got him back for last year. And no, the Cleveland Guardians, Nick, of all fucking baseball teams on the planet, come out and get 4 straight extra base hits and extra innings, come out, win the game. Even Jacob Junis couldn't blow it. I mean, that was just exceptional baseball, Ryan. And how could you not be excited? And if you're the Tigers, how could you not be looking over your shoulder?
Dude, I mean, and that's exactly why, because it was reminiscent of last year. And that's why, like, this series right now is so important. Like, what happened last night? What happened last night had to have been demoralizing. Like, I can't think of another word but demoralizing because they had us. Like, it was Cade Smith again. It was the
they had our
issue
season, dude.
Of not having. Yeah, that's been the story. You don't have a closer. Your closer's, under investigation for gambling. But here we are punching up again. And the Guardians just continue to find ways to get it done. Like, they've got to carry that momentum into tonight. They got to carry that momentum into Thursday because this baseball team is alive and well.
Yeah, they are. Well, you know what? Before we dive too far into the Guardians, let's check with Big Play correspondent APJ, who's out in Aruba with a special message for the kids.
Hey, everybody. Always Positive J live from Flamingo Beach in Aruba. And as hot as it is here, our Guardians are even hotter with the second best team ERA since the All-Star break, only behind Milwaukee. Let's keep on winning. Let's get the wild card. Hey, maybe in the division. Back to you guys.
APJ made his wife record that, bro.
Thank you, APJ, checking in for the Factor from Aruba. Big Place correspondent.
Fever is international.
Here's the thing. It is. People are itching down there in Aruba right now. But the thing is, you look at 2016 when that season changed around in June. It was the rally chicken, right? When Cody Allen brought a chicken out to the ballpark. Ryan, if you can run back the tape for me for a second there, I believe you'll hear a cock-a-doodle-doo.
J live from Flamingo Beach in Aruba, and as hot as it is here, our Guardians are even hotter.
The rally chicken is back. He might have made his way down to Aruba with APJ,
but I mean, it's just baby. Look at those seagulls.
Let's get the wild card. Hey, maybe in the division. Back to you guys.
That's a good double hand point too. I mean, like that's good.
Yeah, that's
good little transition off on the back to you.
It's no Pat McGuire.
It's not definitely not the.
How many takes on that?
Doesn't have the wing
bro?
up, but
did he knock that out in one go?
Absolutely, he did. A champion, a pro, a veteran like that. Absolutely.
Let's get it, bro.
Oh, man. Thank you, APJ, for that.
Yeah.
Jack, this has been such an interesting season for the Cleveland Guardians. And, I think out of us four, we're all obviously say you're the biggest Guardians fan. You're a big ball knower. The fact that the Cleveland Guardians are still in this point in the middle of September, when we talk about the negative run differential, how are they doing this?
We talked about it a bit yesterday, but it's the perfect way of knowing what days you got a shot to win. You kind of figure out around the 4th or 5th inning, and that's how you move forward with a team like this. Like it's so odd because if you look at a team who has a bottom 5 offense in every traditional and advanced sabermetric stat, a team who doesn't really have a star pitcher, like Gavin Williams is starting to get to that point where he's getting more consistent. Like I know he has his up and his down starts, but you don't really have that true number one guy or a name that like casual fans watching baseball in San Francisco probably know. Like they might know Tanner Bybee a little bit like in passing, right? And even the bullpen, like it's been regression from last year, which like is due obviously with the year that they had last year. But somehow they just keep finding ways to win. Ryan, it's ridiculous. Like the way that they do come through with clutch hitting sometimes. Like last night is just a testament to it. Like even guys who have not had strong years last night, like Bo Naylor, Nolan Jones had big hits that end up coming around to score runs. Bo Naylor himself had an RBI. Gabriel Arias, who's had an up and down year, takes a fastball high part of the zone, just rails at opposite field, and then 40 rows up in the outfield. Like they just every single night they find a different way to win, and it's different guys every single time. It's something special, dude. If you can just find a way to string it together for 2 more weeks, because you do think about, hey, there's this pressure of we can't lose again, but there's also the pressure of those teams sitting right in front of you of, hey, the Guardians are the hottest team in baseball. They've won 15 of their last 20, 10 of their last 11. Like if there's a team who's going to get hot and catch you, they're here and they're coming. So it's a little bit on both sides.
It's also something to be said too, right? Like looking at FanGraphs this morning, they have like an 11% chance of actually making the playoffs. So like we could keep that at bay. Like it still is an uphill battle. But I think there's something to be said that like that never say die mentality and that culture and everything that we talk about for the Browns, like it's so apparent with this team, and it's like habitual now. Like this is not the first time that they've done this, where they're able to catch fire in the second half of a season. In this case, it might be too little too late, but I think you have to commend that even though there's an 11% chance, and that means that there's an 89% chance that you don't make the playoffs, and they're still fighting their asses off every single night. Like that's what being a Cleveland team is about. Like that's what Cleveland wants our teams to be about as fans. Like it has just been remarkable.
And even if you like really look at it, yeah, they might come just short by a game or 2, 3 games, whatever. Can you name one thing that genuinely went right for the Cleveland Guardians this year?
And
like
also,
going into
too,
preseason,
because dissimilar to sports like basketball and football, like the MLB draft is such a crapshoot, and you're not really playing to tank. So, like, what's it hurt to go into next season with a little bit of momentum, especially because most of these jokers are going to be the same guys that are playing next year. You could have Travis Bazzana, yes, maybe Chase DeLauder finally gets healthy, but for the most part, these are going to be the same exact guys. So there's nothing wrong with going on this tear, even if it is kind of for naught.
All right, guys. Well, our Cleveland Guardians staying hot, and that's to be seen, Jack. I hope we do get some Rocktober baseball for our Cleveland Guardians, Jack. All right, but let's flip it
Brian
over.
Rocchio.
Let's flip it over. We're going to talk about... I kind of
switch
feel
up,
bad bringing this about to Baker Mayfield, but he continues to divide fans in Cleveland. And before we dive into that, I do got to tell you about our friends over at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford, Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they won't be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Don't let that short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands of dollars on your new dream vehicle. Over 500 vehicles in stock on their lot, so there's never been a better time to make that short drive. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Scan that QR code now or go to their website or visit fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Guys, Nick, I was telling you a little bit pre-show, man, the Baker wars, they're long gone, but people in Cleveland are still pretty divided on this. Like, we had this whole conversation about Baker, whether he's truly, quote-unquote, an elite quarterback, and maybe not elite, that's quite a stretch, but I don't think you can deny the fact that Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback, and right now playing like probably more closer to a top 5 quarterback in Tampa Bay, leading them to 2-0. We saw the game-winning drive in primetime, and when you do look at some of the numbers, and I know numbers can be manipulated and all that, but look at this, guys. Obviously, without a doubt, a lot of people's top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. You can interchange some, but that's for the base consensus. You look at these numbers, them compared to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, this is since 2023. Baker Mayfield leads in pass yards. Baker Mayfield leads in pass touchdowns. He's second amongst this group in completion percentage, third amongst this group in quarterback rating, and I believe fourth in terms of winning percentage, 21-15 compared to 25-9, 26-10, 26-9. The numbers don't lie. And you can say what you want about Baker Mayfield, but the numbers are there.
Yeah, they certainly are. You know, I've lived through my share of, like, there were a lot of people that were sympathetic towards Sashi Brown when he left. There were also people that hated Sashi Brown. And that thing went on for really probably the better part of 4 or 5 years, you know, where people were debating, was that 1-31 stretch smart? Was it worth it? Ultimately turn over to John Dorsey. Look at how much talent he was able to get because the team had so much cap space, because they had so many draft picks, because of the tank. Like, I think we're finally getting into those prime years because it took Baker a little bit to get his feet back under him in the National Football League. Like, we're in the midst of, like, probably year 2, maybe 3 of the 5-year war that's going to be the Baker Wars, you know, of people debating, was it the right move? You know, and this is one where, like,
debate?
I'll hear an argument. I will hear an argument that when the Browns made the decision to move on from him, that postseason, after Baker had hurt himself and expectations fell completely flat, it was a horrible year. There was an argument that was out there that unless you had a guy like Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Josh Allen, you weren't doing anything anyway. So what was the hurt to try to go out and get a perennial MVP candidate in Deshaun Watson? Completely understand that, completely subscribe to it. However, the argument was also that was a move that needed to be made. It was necessary because we were wasting prime years of Myles Garrett. We were wasting prime years of Nick Chubb, and we were going to waste this championship-ready roster with a quarterback that wasn't going to go do anything anywhere else. Like, the argument was, look at all the quarterbacks that had moved on from Cleveland since 1999. None of those guys had come back to haunt the Browns. None of those guys really went on to go do anything with their careers. The Browns looked justified in their decision to move on from all of the names on the back of that really long jersey that's become so famous, right? So that's where the argument falls short, though, because we've effectively, by replacing Baker Mayfield, wasted 4 years, 5 years of Myles Garrett's prime. Nick Chubb's prime's over. I mean, he scored a touchdown against Houston. That was added salt in the wound in what was that Monday Night Football game, but you effectively wasted his prime and didn't get anything out of it. And here you sit. In 2018 and 2017, you had back-to-back number 1 overall picks. To be in the midst of a rebuild 10 years removed from that is, quite frankly, unacceptable. And that's why I say that, like, the Baker thing was a massive mistake, even though I'll hear arguments that they felt like they had to go find their Josh Allen, their Mahomes, their Burrow.
But they didn't.
It was the wrong time. It was the wrong time to try that. You needed to give them that one more year to see if you had that guy in your building, because you saw success with Baker. You saw Baker be one drive away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs, and I get Mahomes didn't play in that second half, but playing in an AFC championship game, you were one drive away. And the next year you moved on from the dude that brought you there. That's where the argument falls apart to me. I see it from all sides. I truly do. I think that's what healthy debate's about. But I ultimately will maintain that it was the wrong decision at the wrong time.
I mean, I'd be lying to you, and I feel like a lot of people would be lying to you if they say they weren't excited at the prospect of them trading for Deshaun Watson. And obviously, when that ultimately did happen, I remember being like, okay, this is exciting. We could be something. It wasn't necessarily the wrong idea for them to be like, hey, we love our team right now in terms of outside of the quarterback room. Let's go trade for a proven commodity. Because we feel like, and hell, I don't blame them for thinking this, that they can't develop a quarterback. They haven't been able to ever since 1999. They probably felt like they wouldn't have been able to do it with Baker, so they went and made that trade, that swing and a miss, which Haslam famously called. But what's the issue? It's you traded for a serial sexual predator who hadn't played football in 2 years.
And then
that's like
with the fully guaranteed contract.
We gotta factor all. There were plenty of stupid decisions that came after, and it's the bottom line. It's a results-based league. Baker Mayfield is doing good right now. He's an MVP candidate, and you're stuck with bottom 32 or bottom 5 quarterback play like you've been for the whole time.
Baker Mayfield, when he was here, yeah, he had that down year. That was still 17 touchdowns, I think about 13 interceptions, 3,000 yards. And that was bad for Baker's standards. I'd take that right now. I'd take him with a hurt shoulder right now. The year before, he was 26-8. He looked amazing. He was a fringe top 10 guy. And you got rid of him.
That second half of that COVID playoff year was so crazy for Baker. He was ridiculous.
And it's like, so
I was him and Rodgers for MVP. Like those last couple games.
I was a guy, like I was like, let's trade for Deshaun, sure. But then once you see 10-game suspension, he's never like that's when all that stuff was like, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea, and we just paid him $350 or however much it was at the time. It's just simple. You made a bad decision,
and then you kept letting that bad decision cloud you.
And
right.
You doubled down
to make more bad decisions.
Doubled down, and it's simple. There, you could have had how many? What did we traded 3 or 4 firsts? You could have had 3 or 4s with Baker. Whether he didn't reach the levels, if he even just stayed at the level he was, you could have just kept building talent around the roster. You see what the Eagles do with a guy like Jalen Hurts. Maybe he's not the best passer of the football at all times, but they got a great roster through building well in the draft. They've had late round draft picks that they've hit on. You could have had mid to late round draft picks that you could have hit on.
And here's the other layer of that too, right? Because we've all confessed, that like when it was time for that trade to actually go down,
but
like
we're not front office guys.
We were ready for it. Like Deshaun Watson, you can't debate when you saw
I didn't
him
hire a private investigator.
Yeah,
to go.
right.
And all I've heard about Deshaun is how they had to
detector.
babysit him in Texas, in Houston. How Bill O'Brien was saving this dude's career, holding his hand through the offense. Yeah. You're telling me the people who are paying millions couldn't figure that out and think maybe that's not a good idea? Maybe we should wait on it. Maybe we should go after someone else.
And that's
or exactly Nick Chubb had never been with a quarterback in the shotgun in his life.
That's exactly the other piece of it. Was
or then Deshaun can't play under center. He can't run the offense.
Yeah, exactly.
They grossly underestimated the suspension. They grossly underestimated
his time off.
The time off and what that was going to do. Like
his
dude,
work ethic,
that
his
whole
ability
I think
to
the
fit
mental
in the
aspect
offense.
of it too. Like if you look at Deshaun Watson, like before everything comes out, like he's a national champion, top 5 quarterback. He probably was beloved in every room he walked into his whole entire life as like the guy in every single room ever. Like to go from that to make the decisions that he made, and got to the point where he was like, so you then become the most vile, like hated villain in every single room you're in. Like that, like how much does that fuck someone's mind up?
Gross estimation of he was throwing to a wide receiver in his prime who is arguably one of the top 15 most talented ever. And in terms of the jump ball, he's probably top 5, top 10. Will Fuller, who in his prime was running a 4.2, was running straight by people. And they had a good run game. They were bringing in guys like Lamar Miller. They always had good running backs and a pretty good O-line. They was Laramie Tunsil there at the time at left tackle, I think. He might have been. It was a good team with a leader, an actual leader who was their spiritual and team leader on defense. Yeah. Deshaun probably didn't really have to lead anything. And he was just kind of going out there. J.J. Watt was the guy out there.
And looking back on it, too, it's like, yes, Deshaun Watson was in the MVP conversation, a ton of empty stats.
A lot of empty stats.
But beyond that, too, is... yes, he was more proven than Baker, but not in terms of playoff success, in terms of winning, in terms of deep playoff runs.
And
it was what? It was one, I believe,
us.
if I'm not mistaken, one playoff win against the Bills.
That was a crazy win, though.
And everybody nationally
absolutely sold in that game.
Right,
yeah.
Right. That's young Josh Allen. Everybody nationally said at the time, and it was repeated locally
they said
too.
You should have kept Baker, and this was a bad move.
Everybody said like pump the brakes. Like if it works out, yeah, it'll be pretty cool. And if it works out, yeah, the 3 first-round picks won't matter much. But everybody locally and nationally, myself included, like we could pull tape from Big Play Reflog show back in the day, circa pandemic, where we were talking about this kind of stuff. And everybody knew that like if this goes sour, it is going to be the worst thing that we've ever seen happen in the NFL.
And I was a year late to the party, but after that, and this is another thing, everyone was assuming 3 to 4 game suspension, and then I think it was 10 or 12.
It was 11.
Yeah, like it was 11 games, and then he came back and he was awful. I said, guys, listen, bro, you can't miss that much time and it's just going to come back like this. Like, he's going to have to work really hard this offseason. And if we start the year and it's not back next year, I don't think it's ever coming back.
He voluntarily set out. He voluntarily set out and then missed 11 games.
That's
like 500 days of no football. These guys have been getting better,
and
man.
The cherry on top of that, too, is, and we haven't brought up this point yet, is beyond all that, you were trying to continually fit I love Matt Fontaine uses this term, a square peg into a round hole.
Isn't what he
Deshaun
does.
Watson never fit what Kevin Stefanski wanted
That's
to do.
not what he does. He wants
Never.
to chuck streaks to talented guys, and we had
I
Amari Cooper.
mean, I don't think Kevin even wanted him in the
He's-
first place.
He's a
you know?
yeah. I don't get into that with me too. Technical route runner Amari Cooper. Who's our deep threat? Donovan Peoples-Jones, 7th round draft pick. Who else do we got? We got Anthony Schwartz. I think we were still trying to make work at that time.
Track star.
You know what I'm saying? Was Higgins? Was he still on the squad? He might have been gone by then. I don't even know. I can't even
think he
think
was
of who our
gone.
third receiver was. I only remember.
I think we might have just
Peoples-Jones.
drafted Michael Woods and hoped that he was going to turn into
Nasty work,
something.
bro. Nasty work. Very nasty.
One
work.
day, like what? I don't know. It's impossible to find solace in this entire
It
conversation.
is the worst
to be
trade in
completely
NFL history,
honest with
though.
you.
Real talk.
One day, I truly do believe, just because I've been around the Browns for my entire life, and I've been around sports journalism for 5 or so years, like. At some point, when Kevin, Andrew, Deshaun are all gone,
We're gonna find something.
that
out.
that article,
that
in the
athletic
Athletic
article
is going to
like
drop.
crack cocaine.
The coals are going to be raked, and we eventually could have some answers exactly to like your point. Like if we could hook up Kevin Stefanski to like a polygraph.
I don't think you wanted him
Did
here.
you want Deshaun Watson? Like
No,
even
no.
like at the time,
But
like
his-
do
No,
you,
I think
do
at the
you
time,
want,
like when
do you
he
want
signed,
Deshaun Watson
when
right
he
now?
put
And
on
it
the
says
Brownie
no.
the elf hat and held up the one with the stupid ass orange jacket on. If you put him up to hooked it up, then he would have said the same thing.
But
And
even-
it's nasty work too what the organization did.
Also-
It's nasty what the Browns allowed to happen with Deshaun Watson, where they were actively paying people online who had press credentials, who had press
That's gotta
access.
be illegal, right?
Well,
Maybe
it's-
not
It's
legality,
technically not like illegal, but it's unethical.
certainly unethical.
Yeah, like it's
Propaganda.
journalism
Who-
ethics 101. Like they had people sitting in suites. They had people wearing merchandise from the team shop just to spread propaganda against Baker Mayfield and to lift up Deshaun Watson. So it was like up to people
is
like
insane,
really
bro.
like poor little old me in my castle screaming to nobody saying this guy's no good. This was a colossal mistake. But you have all of these people who are actively
Damaged
getting
goods,
paid
man.
to spread that, oh, Deshaun, once the rust gets knocked, if I heard that one more time, I was going to rip my hair out with the rust. Like people were spreading that for years and years, and it was just allowed to happen. Like it's like you hear that kind of stuff happen in the world of like politics, that like if you see something super far left or super far right, like it's probably paid propaganda from the other party to make it look crazy. That was happening in Cleveland Browns football over this guy. That's how bad it was.
There's no
and they knew right away.
because we forget like Baker. There was still talk that we were gonna bring him back for that 5th year, and it was all the way up until that adult in the room comment where he said, "I've had enough. I don't want to do it anymore." We complete like the team absolutely just was. They pushed him out, the front office, the media. You could tell me Kevin didn't want Baker, but I'm sure, or Deshaun, he probably didn't want Baker either, but the alternative of what he probably did of like a Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins wouldn't have been it either. He would have still been wrong in that. Everyone was just so sick of this kid, and they gave up on him too soon after 1 year of an injury, and that's just what it is. They'll have to live with that, and that's marked it. They've been here for 6 years. It's going to be 4 losing seasons. You could book that this year. They're not going to have a winning record. And when you have 2 winning seasons in that time, you have a guy that's now a franchise quarterback somewhere else. I don't know how you keep your job. It's that simple, man.
Okay, I was going to ask you guys, so when this does inevitably break off, the contract's done, Kevin and AB are gone, Jimmy's out, whatever, who do you guys think is the first to say something of that group?
I don't know that we'll ever.
Someone will eventually.
We'll get a
eventually.
report of quotes that can go live
From
years
sources,
ago.
yeah.
That they won't say it direct. There won't be a tell-all interview. I
Right.
don't think they're like
I
going
love
like
a
that.
30 for 30 on
No,
it,
because
man.
I think like
We'll
they're
get
There
30
might
for
be a
30.
Deshaun
30 for 30.
That'd be
yeah.
so good.
I,
One day.
like Kevin and Andrew, like they're all young enough where like they're not going to do anything that would jeopardize their future in the league. So like they're like they'd never come on Big Play a year from now, 2 years from now, and uncover what happened, because they could bounce back from.
Do you
this.
want my
They
hot take?
They truly can, but
Yes, Jack,
yeah,
I
in
do.
a second, yeah. So I think it'll be like the anonymous sources thing.
I think it's this is going to sound crazy. I think we already talked about it. If you go follow at Big Play Cleveland on Instagram, we had a nice little reel out there this morning about it. Nick talking about Deshaun's videos posting with Quincy Avery before the season, or not. Before the season and now into the season, trying to get himself ready to go to maybe get traded at some point. Like he wants to be out of here. I think once he's out of Cleveland, I think he's going to air it out immediately, like before he's out of the NFL. Like I think he's just going to come out and say like something
could air
like
out-
to try and save himself or give himself another job. Like, oh, this guy didn't give me a friggin' shot.
You
or
could
something.
say that, but it would also be like it would only be one side of the story. Deshaun doesn't know who really like said I want you here, because by the time he got here, it was okay. They're gonna be professional. They're gonna say he's the quarterback. He could say Kevin was a bad coach and didn't set him up to succeed.
Yeah, that comes across as
I would
like
love to
scorned
see
X.
that
Like
PowerPoint,
nobody
too.
really
know.
will.
We need someone from inside the organization who would whenever it airs, it would be an unnamed source who's gonna really say, well, this is who was doing what, who actually, if anyone wanted to keep Baker, who was pushing to go where. We'll hear a bunch of crazy stuff, but it'll be once everyone's gone.
Release the names and give us the the PowerPoint that Kevin Stefanski used to get Deshaun Watson to go to Cleveland.
Who are the main? Who do you think appears in a 30 for 30 doc with Deshaun?
Bill O'Brien.
Honestly, it'll be really funny.
Dabo Sweeney.
I could see
He
Baker.
was MJ in cleats.
I could see Baker doing like a big media career after
Remember when
he's
Dabo
done.
called him that?
What did he do?
Dabo Sweeney once. It was like a long time
There'll
ago.
be a couple
called,
of the women.
Called Deshaun Watson,
Couple of
Michael
the
Jordan,
women.
and
Tony
Oh,
Busby
jeez.
would be in it probably.
Oh,
Tony
God.
Busby.
The one Twitter lawyer guy.
Quincy Ayers.
Yeah, that guy would be in it.
Peter Patako.
But no, Baker would be in it just to like shit talk him. Like it'll be like office
Quincy
cutscenes
Avery.
after his
Quincy
playing
Avery
career.
would be in it.
It would be to make him. It would be a sympathetic tale
There were
with the
so
other
many.
side.
There were
of
probably
other
so
people.
many signs that we weren't privy to that it was just a mistake to make.
And
that
those are
trade.
signs people are paid.
Maybe
to
like
see.
the
Signs
Houston
people are
Texans
paid to
moving
see.
off of their franchise quarterback.
That's a
good
good
one.
Pressed up, 'cause that's what
With
starts
no
to
other
make me
options.
mad.
No other options,
I
yeah.
when people
Jack,
defend
Brian
the front
Hoyer.
office by saying the fans wanted it to happen.
Jack, you love
That's-
referencing this, and I think this is legit one of the first photos that I saw once the Browns signed Deshaun or announced that they were trading for Deshaun Watson was him yamming on a mini hoop on Mia Khalifa.
Yeah, like there's just some things like, and there's, I mean,
Freaky ass,
all work is work. I
369.
have nothing against
Freaky
Mia
ass,
Khalifa and her
369.
occupation,
Hey,
but
hey,
if you're
hey,
hanging out with her,
Let me hear you say OV.
All right. Well, guys,
Freaky ass.
the Cleveland Browns don't have Baker Mayfield anymore, and it's revisionist history at this point.
We got
But we
Joe
got to work
Flacco.
with what we have. But before we dive into that, I got to tell you about our friends at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just two flavors, classic light lager as well as that classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer-flavored beer. It's the way you want beer to taste. So scan that QR code now or go give their website a visit, drinkgaragebeer.com. One more time, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. All right, guys. As we assume Joe Flacco will be the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback in Week 3 home against the Green Bay Packers. We talked about it a little bit, but we'll go back to it. Guys, is this the right decision? And whether or not it's the right decision, Nick, I know you necessarily don't agree with it, but you stand pat that the Browns, you think, are going to roll out Joe Flacco for possibly another 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, I waver on if it's the right decision or not. I
It's
truly
not.
do. Like, I ride the
It's a
fence
waste
on
of time.
It,
School,
it
though.
probably is a waste of time. However, I also think putting Dylan Gabriel against Micah Parsons is just textbook malpractice.
Yeah.
And when he would
Playing
inevitably look bad, everybody would be able to say, "Well, what did you expect?" So I actually do get this. I actually think that it is the right move for a couple more weeks. I think once the schedule softens, and I've maybe even changed my tune. Like, if JJ McCarthy can't go against Minnesota, maybe that's the spot where you put Gabriel, because then that turns into a winnable game. It's weird. It's over London. And really show the Brits are best with Dylan Gabriel starting against Carson Wentz potentially. But
at 9:30 a.m., if those are the starting quarterbacks, there will not be one damn soul in America outside of Cleveland and Minneapolis watching that game.
Yeah, I do maintain for this week, it's the responsible thing, because listen, I can't go back on what I said. Why I agreed with Joe Flacco to start the season in the first place was that he's unflappable. As bad as Sunday was in Baltimore, I know Joe Flacco will show up in Cleveland at Huntington Bank Stadium completely unfazed by what happened 7 days ago. Like, and I don't know that will be true with a rookie quarterback. Like, if Dylan Gabriel starts Sunday, gets sacked 10 times against Micah Parsons, well, then we could have just potentially shot his confidence going into Detroit, where they're going to look to tee off against them and replicate that. Like, I do maintain that I think Flacco is the right
Them's
decision
the
right
breaks.
now.
It's NFL football. You're going to play talent. You know why I don't agree with this? Because I've watched us do this before. I've even watched someone get a win on this. DTR went and played the Steelers. Granted, it was a home game, but, well, this is a home game too. We didn't score much. And he got out there another week on short notice, and he won the game. I've watched us do the same thing with P.J. Walker. We played the 49ers, one of the greatest defenses in the NFL at the time. We won the game. You could scheme it around. I'm not telling. Now, it would be irresponsible to play him and then drop him back 50 times. Yes, that would be stupid. But you can play him and you could scheme him to protect him and let him run a simple offense and just see if he could show us some flashes. I'm not expecting him to win the game, even though both those people I just mentioned did. I just want him to go out there and prove that maybe the offense looks a little bit better with someone who could use his legs.
Rob,
Maybe someone who's
to your point, this is why I'm like right in the fence.
Them's the breaks, bro, because in
like
the
Bo
football,
Nix,
there's no excuse. You don't run and hide
nobody said Bo Nix, like nationally, whatever. Nobody said Bo Nix was ready to go except for Sean Payton. Sean Payton said Bo Nix ready to go. And as a rookie, Bo Nix looked ready to go.
There's going to be a good player in every game you play.
If it's 80 degrees outside and DeWanda's out and KT Leviston has to defend Micah Parsons.
Okay, chip him. Double team him every play.
I mean, quadruple team him. Quadruple.
Nick, I agree that Joe Flacco will be unflappable. Like, I agree he'll probably come in and
that doesn't change.
But listen, I know he won't give a fuck about what happened on Sunday because it's beyond him. His career is he knows his past. This is just fun football for him at this point.
Quick.
But the fact that go ahead.
Oh, what are your guys' thoughts on the new jerseys we're wearing?
Okay,
we're wearing them for the first
time. That's an outrageous transition. Never mind. I forget I went to you. What was I saying? The fact is that Joe Flacco is a statue. We know this. Like, you need a quarterback that's going to be able to move around the pocket if you want any chance to win this game. Now, that's the point. Are you actually playing this game to try and win it, or are you just trying to, I keep saying, keep the season on the rails, but in terms of, not just put a quarterback out there that maybe is a little bit competent. But the fact is, how do you win games like these? When you're at home and you're going against a clearly superior team with maybe the best defense in the NFL, it's things like flipping to a rookie quarterback. It's things like going to a quarterback where you can reach deep in your bag, give teams a look they haven't seen. Like, when you're the Packers, you're licking your chops trying to think that you're pass rushing against a statue of Joe Flacco. You throw Dylan Gabriel out there, sure, it could go bad, but you know what? At the same time, it could go good. And you need clearly something to change. At least put a guy out there with a little bit of legs, and teams don't have film on him. And if you can get creative enough, and if Kevin Stefanski is this offensive guru that people claim he is, then you know what? Throw Dylan Gabriel out there, and maybe we can even win the game. But if not, let's score 25 points.
That's my big thing. If this week would be a win, I'm giving the Browns in a win column this week. If you could just look competent offensively.
I got a new comp for Kevin Stefanski.
And
this is
Doc Rivers.
No, this is me. But I was going basketball because this is just where I'm at overall with this. Any excuses you make, the coach of the year is whatever he did, bro. Kevin Stefanski is JB Bickerstaff, and it's time we go and we get a Kenny Atkinson.
I've thought about that comp
because I watched the Cavs offense full of talent be mid for years, and we got Kenny Atkinson. All of a sudden, we're the 1 seed. Now, granted, we lost in the playoffs, injuries, all that, whatever. JB Bickerstaff was coming off 3 straight winning seasons. He's a good coach. He's solid. He does what he does. But the job was done, and it was time for a change, and that's where we are now.
Kevin Stefanski can get fired, go coach like some team, the Dolphins, and go in a coach.
And what did JB do? He went to the playoffs. The Pistons had a great year. It's a good thing, but change of sceneries need to happen, bro. Like, and that's where we are. JB Bickerstaff, it wasn't working. We needed someone who could come coach offense on this team. JB is a defensive-minded coach, and at least our defense was always good for the Cavs. Kevin's offensive-minded, and we can't score more than 15 points in a game. I don't know, but I think it's time to move on and do something different. I also think it's time to start Dylan Gabriel. If he plays bad and he can't shake that off, probably not an NFL player, man. I think it's that simple. The bad things are going to happen.
I wonder, like, in a world, right? Like, just humor me for a second. In a world, we know for a fact it's not going to be this week. But say, for whatever reason, like, Flacco's somehow worse than he was last week, and they decide to go with Gabriel in Detroit, and Gabriel it's just, like, full meltdown. I wonder if you can then at some point this year go back to Flacco. Like, if you guys thought about that at all?
You could do that at any point if you want to. As long as he's healthy, he's a vet, and he just wants to play football. He's 41 years old. You tell him that is what it is, but we'll keep you on standby. We don't know if these guys can't play at all, but we got to see. We might come back to you. And what's the worst they got? He comes out, he's still a statue, he plays bad. Maybe he throws 300 yards in a game. Who cares? At that point, it's just draft picks because we know we need a guy for next year. And then if Dylan has a bad game, that doesn't mean you go right off of him. Right. He needs like at least probably 2 to 3 to see. We need to see if something's going to be consistent. Real talk, bro. If you go and play him once and he looks bad, that's malpractice because you don't change anything up. You don't see if he can learn from his mistakes, get in the film room. That's the problem. That's why everything's a waste of time because you now know in 2 games that Joe Flacco's not going to be able to do anything for you to make a competitive team. You got 2 guys. You got 15 games. Play him as much as you need to before that's inconclusive. Maybe we see 3 games of Gabriel, maybe even 2. He can't play. All right, Shador, get ready, start throwing the ball. If we see the same thing and we're at week 10, but we know everyone sucks.
It's like what are we so scared of finding
That's what
out we
I'm saying.
suck? Newsflash, you suck. Like I don't understand.
I think that's an element of it, though.
You know?
I really do
It's
because they said all offseason we're better than
And
a
I'm
3-win
telling
football
you,
team.
he's
I do
scared
think that's
of
a
that
big
because
element.
if you get to week 10 and we've gone through everyone and we know everyone sucks,
Yeah.
why are you still the coach? What, your job is
Yeah,
cooked,
that's
buddy.
true.
I see him trying to delay. That's what I'm seeing right now. That process, the more you could delay it, the more it's like, okay, we got to kind of see what he could do with the next guy. No, we know what you could do with this guy. Go to the next one. And if you can't stretch that out at least 4 games to keep your job alive, give us some hope. No. Next one, and that's strike 2. We're on to strike 3, buddy, and that guy better work out because if we get to week 12, then it's Kevin, I'm calling you. Jim Schwartz, you're the new interim head coach, and it's time to move on to next year. We're looking for our new guys.
You know, I've had this debate too. It's like if you're Stefanski, and even if it goes so sour by week 10, like kind of the situation you just described, if you're Kevin, and I know you never want to get fired and job
There were
security
some
is
rumors
important,
about that last year.
But if you're Kevin,
You're gonna get a job.
throw your
When that
hands up in the
Chicago-
air,
when that
say,
Chicago
"Why-
job
you
was
know what? I
open-
can wipe my hands of this mess. Didn't
Go
work out.
somewhere
I
else,
got
man.
2 Coach of the Year awards. I got paid.
You're gonna get
Somebody's
hired.
gonna hire me. Whether I have to do next year as a consultant role like Vrabel. Well,
You're
look
not
what
the
happened.
first person to say this, Ryan.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna
you're
find
gonna
a
get
job.
hired.
It's not the worst thing in the world for
Barry's
Kev.
gonna get hired again too to go somewhere
Yeah.
and run analytics. He might not be a head GM, but he'll get pay.
All right, Jack, what were you saying about the uniforms?
Oh, I want to get your guys, because we're wearing them for the first time and it's 85 degrees outside and they're like dark brown. I want to get your guys'
Oh,
thoughts
it's
on
the
it.
new joints.
Yeah, because Dewan's going to be wearing them
What's
too.
the weather looking like?
It's
It's
80.
really hot and
nice-
Dewan's going to be wearing them.
It's a
It's
su-
really hot. It's 80 degrees.
hot in
bro.
Cleveland.
Dude, that's in Cleveland
It's
in
a summer weekend.
Bro,
September?
Bro, if the heat is a factor
Oh
and
my
it's
goodness,
80 degrees
82.
outside, you're a professional athlete, you were paid millions of dollars every year. If you are not in shape enough to
I
play
say
in
that all the
80
time.
They're at the
degree
bike
weather-
saw camp.
And people say like, "Oh, well, you don't know what they go through." I'm like,
Oh,
I
no,
don't.
I know. I played in basketball gyms that were 90 degrees
I
and
know.
100% humidity, and
You're-
I was
it's like-
doing it for free.
You're a professional athlete. It's part of your job. If I came into work and I was like, you know what, I don't know how to work a computer.
No, bro.
Like, what?
it-
Like,
I get it though. Like you don't want somebody just dropping out there.
All right, then get out the game. Get out the game.
No, well,
Next
that's what
guy.
he did. That's what happened.
Then you made fun of him for getting out the game.
And you should be cut. He should no longer be on the team if he couldn't play
Well,
in 80-degree weather.
well, that's
How
the
much
other
is
piece-
Deshaun
that's the other
Jones'
piece of it.
contract? I know it's over $4 million.
80 degrees, not that hot.
Making like $1 million this year. I
We're not playing in Death Valley.
Did you guys also watching that last
Florida
game in
and
Baltimore?
It's 1:30 outside, but no. It's 80-degree weather in Cleveland. There's gonna be a breeze. There's shadows. They got fans with water on the sideline.
why we
Get
need
out there and play your 5
an
snaps and
air-conditioned-
drive, because we're gonna go 3 and out anyway, bro. How are you cramping?
Do you guys also did you ever once during that Baltimore game because you
You're
can
not even
look
running
and know
like
the weather
Denzel,
did you
bro.
ever think oh man, looks like a scorcher down there? Because I did not once. It didn't look that hot either.
Not even getting to the second level blocking. You're not sprinting at all.
Well, it's a thing in Miami because they do it kind of intentionally, where the away sideline is right in the sun.
Yeah,
so
there's
you
no
just
shade.
Stand there and bake. So
Metal bleachers.
it's a thing there. I have heard in Miami, coaches will be smart about cycling guys out just because of how hot it is.
No,
in Baltimore-
I'm going after this. I'm going. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
No.
That's all. That's all. That's all I really have.
At
But
the end of
in
the
Baltimore,
day, at the end of the day, you had the whole entire offseason to get in the best shape you can, and then you had the preseason with the training to get into even better shape. If you are not physically able to perform in a slightly hot game, it's 80 degrees. NFL football, that's perfect weather. If you cannot get out there in Cleveland, Ohio in 80-degree weather and play a football game as an offensive lineman, you're not in good enough shape, and they're paying you money for no reason. It is
we
that
need
simple.
somebody to
it's on the
scour
lake.
the internet. Has that ever happened in M&T Bank Stadium before, where somebody had to?
Definitely not.
Baltimore, Maryland. Oh man, we're definitely
Unless
in
the
the Sun
Orioles
Belt,
play there
guys.
in June.
Whoa,
His stomach hurt. All right, guys. 8.5 points. We'll make our official picks Friday, but
Packers
I
spread.
feel like that's too low.
Packers spread.
Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't surprise me if it's a double-digit game. I said it on Big Play Cleveland, though. I think the sports books are going to continue to respect the Cleveland Browns because the defense is good, and they're going to continue to they're going to continue to tell themselves, if Flacco can just keep the car on the road, play good defense, these all should be close games. You got to remember, when Vegas sets these lines, they're pretty much playing the game out on paper in order to get to this number. So that's how they're thinking. They're thinking that if the Browns are as good as we think they are defensively, and if Joe Flacco's that unflappable vet, this should be about an 8 or 9 point game. However, we know as Browns fans, you got to expect the unexpected, and that turnovers could lead to points. You
punt.
block punts lead to points. you could have some bad things
They
happen.
have a very well.
Extra
I
points,
can't
shave a point off.
We'll talk best bets Friday, of course, as the game gets closer. But I'm telling you right now, the bet I'm hammering is a Matthew Golden touchdown. No Jaden Reed. Matthew Golden through 2 weeks hasn't done much. This is a game for Matt LaFleur when they're up early. They're going to look to get him involved to get some momentum going for Matthew Golden. And that secondary is going to be gassed by the second half over
LeBron
the top.
against Trae.
also
A Matthew
like-
Golden touchdown.
I like
is
Jacobs
cash.
unders. We've been holding running backs the best out of any team in the NFL. I was gonna say their wide receiver room is super hurt, but the Ravens were playing like third and fourth string guys, and they were just running wide open for touchdowns. So I won't say anything about that. But I mean, we're still due. I'm hoping that's still in the tank that Flacco's gonna randomly bust out a 300-yard, 3-touchdown game. At some point, it's got to be due, right? Like,
How about this? How do you guys see the line moving if and when Dylan Gabriel starts? If that happens for this game, if they were to announce that Dylan Gabriel's going to get the start, how do you think
So
the line
that's
gets?
a good
I think
question.
it dropped three. I think it drops to like +10.
I think it
goes
would be
up?
the same.
I think
it
it's
would
the
be the
same, or maybe they even give us a
That's
point.
what I'm saying.
Just
Like,
'cause
no
it might,
buffer?
just because it's a new
No
look.
yeah, it might galvanize the team. You don't know. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to be something that the
Who
Packers
throws another
haven't
pick
seen.
six?
No, it might. They might get blown out, but I'm saying they might have to respect because now you got to play it out in different ways. Maybe the team plays a little more inspired. Maybe Dylan Gabriel can get us a touchdown drive on the first drive when we only score 20 points anyway that we might not have got with Flacco because you scheme up something new. It's looks they haven't seen on film. Now we're doing this. We're moving the pocket a little bit. Maybe you got to factor in the element of surprise. I think maybe he says 8.5 right now. They might put it to a touchdown at that point, maybe, or 7.5. Or it could go the other way. Maybe they say we just get cooked.
All right. Well, we do all these bets, of course, on our partners' sportsbook. That's FanDuel. Nick, why don't you tell us about it?
FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the FanDuel app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question now is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to download that FanDuel app today and get started. You got to be 21 plus and present here in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonus bets are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, Jack. What do you say? I think this is a guard.
Man, this is a good one today.
This is a real big parlay, folks, because FanDuel's offering a deal here on September 17th. If you bet on any baseball game with a 3-leg parlay, you're going to get a 50% profit boost. So we're all staying with the guards. Nick, season on the line. What do we say to the God of Death?
Guards, money line, not today.
Not today. Guards money line. We're starting off hot. Then we're following up Jose Exotic, El Rey Tigre, and RBI for our GOAT, Jose Ramirez. And then biggest game of the year, your best arm on the mound. You got to go out there and bet he's going to get 5 Ks, right? Gavin Williams, 5 strikeouts. And the king of the Nerfy himself. He's never even missed. Guards, Tigers, Nerfy, Rob Watson. Folks, once again, plus 1276 in the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
Wow.
Guards money line, Jose RBI, Gavin 5 Ks, and Guards, Tigers, Nerfy.
Send that link in the group chat.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
will.
send that link.
I
for
will.
us. How about that? All right, everybody. Appreciate you tuning into the Big Factor here on the Big Play
do that right
Sports
now.
Network, presented by FanDuel. Big shout out to Fairway Forge. Big shout out to Garage Beer. Big shout out to all of you for tuning in and listen to 4 idiots talk about everything. All right, appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, same people, same time. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
Sharon.